Abusiafo, sese die ye nam Top Connect so e mani sika de bagana e free wiase afa na nyina ye nchia ka pre. Ane aye free. Top Connect amasika mani aye mrekra. Ye uhia ne se wo be download with Top Connect app no e Play Store. Diama wo Android phone. Ana se wo use iPhone so a ko Apple Store na download the Top Connect. Aye simple kra. Top Connect wa manda radio num so wo Europe, North America and Asia. Woman wo dofu sika fa Top Connect so a aye ntem na emre. Na mawa hoto so sese die sika mani edi foforo kra any Top Connect. Se wo hia chechemu bia for Top Connect our +442 081 6155 and a +442 081 761 600 +447 882 950 088 and nasa hwehwe Top Connect our Belfont interfidie nyina so Top Connect fasika mani wa dofo asumjemu a unchia kapre Top Connect yensu ye die
Oyezu oyesa Munya NDC nya ewo United Kingdom na Ireland chapter da ma bri so michia na menyu ba bezian abato ho nkomo dem wore nyim na oka kakra na yakoto aba yeze yanim penyumfo wo bohwe party do wo da mi chapter ya meji ho nkomo na menyu ba bezi chairman akwa no ho nkomo da ma bri chairman akwa campaignfo a wo gina there to wando abana wombe chairman nemu chairman akwade ojina ho prekope nti mesraw de to waba na eza ma chairman akwa no wabe chairman bo United Kingdom and Ireland chapter usane de okitan hihye bebre ya me na adom na so be chairman a opede ozuboa awo a eye member wo United Kingdom na Ireland na NDC party ni na da na dum hihye no mu binyi the establishment of a welfare program. Dem welfare program no mu foso benyi abrubiara NDC nyi ehwehwam bo wo sekasama fem bibi kakre bi a ezeboto to nzama wa bra ahokyira aba no dem welfare program e bohwe na wonsa ka bibi kakra ofi £50 zuko £400 na enyesika etum ebotua eyi ye chairman akwana adwe na opede odzeboa NDC ibiso nyi de NDC member biara obenya any immigration issue ana mbrem nsemi biara wo bibia otena wo United Kingdom ana Ireland chairman akwa establish mpenyumfo a wo betena ho na wahwe na advice biara oyembra kono do na wadi amaw impo se pelo yenyi bi no wegina na waka wasem bi amaw wo United Kingdom ha ana Ireland da mempenyumfi wo mu binom ye lawyers a obotum wegina ma amaw no waji bibi kakre bi wa bra obotum wa abo no wo bibiara so akodo welfare program kuriyara suya chairman akwa opede ozubobo azi onu so behwe na yenuanuma wo United Kingdom na Ireland nyinara awona wo ye into event organization photographers awona wo shishe bibia amanfo ye one parties one weddings nyina obaka wo nyinara abom dem obeya NDC member biara obenya any event there oye wedding outdooring bibiara no wetu wa bobo no wa ya man wa bra onkotue sika ti dema oka akafo obi wo pado ana enchen bi na wa ba da madina man chairman akona nimpemfu so bohwe na abibiara any welfare ana any social issue biara oba affected member biara no obaba obo wechi na bibiara de what mo ana bibiara de wo ye na wo bo program wa kodo no wetu wa yendam na ahomka wa ba welfare program ye bibia se nyamobo na se chairman akwa obeye chairman wo United Kingdom na Ireland no munsam kakra na me putu hu za atrewi odobobaji na woda aboa awo member na woda aboa yen NDC MPyi na epebe nazi munua NDC nya ewo United Kingdom na Ireland to waba former chairman akwa nyamobo na senensa kazebiu na ono so obegina na wahwede mama ka ginara odebe yidwuma na party na akwa n'enyim.
National Democratic Congress NDC yemwenyo nyemfo mane mema mo UK ni Ireland chapter no ya yetienie bena so say yebeto aba every chapter chairman fofo ya hwede chinye no mum koto on swear enyo nyemfo Dr. Joe Ajimai the restoration man the father say the party no wenim kai odi amonyese makotile yie ne wetu ni hwese wa ofo masoro nkoso oni mu adwumade de e
funny hotitru na esini nice so me de bebre no de gu akwemu a obeye de amaye bini se o sigina ye esiko no dwumadi bia be kire party office na odisika 3 pounds empemenum na ato ase eye 5,000 pounds o santre maguo ne mama ho so 1,000 pounds na ebe show mu dwumadi mu kina na esigina ye Don swa, which is a for almost true mudin abeka party in a hoodie. Omombra crow, almost a beka omudika, and 10 times so. Na achi adom abeka ye home. And you possibly and Sebian so. Party mumpin in Fua, only the red ever show Munsebiano, about 2 saffron what's nothing. Not the idea show Munsa, over Buma Punta Marco. When did the Brenano by Yamayo? Only a supporter possible mount to ma. The sunny D. Dr. Joe Ajimai, the restoration man, Tata Chairman Anna, Yantumano.
The clergy and the religious this thing, when they speak, they shake the foundation. And it is only the church that will address meaningfully the canker going on. And they want to silence all credible voices. Now, today, we will reveal everything to you. This question has, direct relation with the pronouncements of Reverend Professor Marty. Let me tell you why people do not want Professor Marty to talk. Listen, they have tried, politicians have tried all means, all means to muzzle me, to get me, but they can't. They come with bribes, fat envelope, $100,000. Listen. I want everybody to listen. Politicians came to my house with fat envelope, $100,000, not cedis, dollars, and also with the promises that if you keep quiet, we will give you a house at Trazaco with swimming pool. You know what? We will give you 4-wheel drive. These people were lucky. I did not have big dogs in my house. Else I would have released the dogs to bite them for the whole world to ask, Papa Moderator, my boy one again. Papa Moderator, I then I would tell me now you release the dog. Then I will tell them, ask what they came to do. You know what? They have tried all means to muzzle me. They couldn't, and I tell you they can't. And you know what? I will speak today, I will speak tomorrow. You know the tax I pay? Osofo. Sometimes when this thing comes and I see the tax that I've paid, but at the same time, I said, praise be to the Lord we serve, because it's going to build our nation. Then when my tax goes, you babies with sharp teeth, you are stealing the money and you don't want us to talk. We will talk today, we will talk tomorrow.
There is no genuine pastor in this country. So for biani oye genuine. There's no pastor in this country. I may say there's no single pastor. Oh my Ghana muhanyanku pon ebina no kasa chileno. They are liars. They are doing business. Obia gotina na sori dem abie na sori ye ne business. Na sebi previous youth no mo Ghana so na mo akotina sa sori dem na mo ton nkumbia bi. Mutimi ko toss off calendar de bo simu dem say mu here protection. Abra sa sofu no or bodyguard. Na muti krom ha. And youth na mo my mo ha no. This is the time I was say ye be new. Ghanaian youth, our eyes are opening. senka asofo ne ye genuine adena Christian counselor ye din na youth e wo man mo haye bre adentina Christian counselor hudo ahemfo e wo krom ha everybody is quiet about what is happening crisis e wo man mo antinka ye wo sofo mo so mo dwin Ghana ho mo nyame ni papa nka sofo yo mo nsori nkasa ma youth no. We don't have any genuine pastor in this country. We are in this country now. Sofu bibe shen come say shatawale bewu shatawale wayarimpo anka wabewu. They are all in this country with lies. Black stars kwa kubo match na sofu bi di flyer bi ba out to say omuye fasting and prayers for black stars. Akosi saying group stage ukura mutimi pie. We are living in this country. Instead of saying people pointing the mistakes to the government to say is distracting the people of Ghana. No, mu yes I no. Now more your flyers are who do say move empire to Galamsey, move empire to economic crisis in the country. Me say there's no genuine pastor in this country. So for biani Ghana nyankopon kasachireno. They are all liars. Nobody. So for biani or maimuha, they should come. I can prove to them that they are all liars. So for biani kruma. So for being say nyankopon e friend na on kire na ebesi 2022 2023 on kire na ebesi 31st night ba afa no mbe show mu nkwase ankom na ase na omu hye nkom se u maame na how u papa na how u bi dua bi asifi ho na how na mu distract youth na omu di nkonti ba dum omu maame na omu papa no machi se omu ya abaifo asofo omu kanipa bom asofo omu ye beef for Ghana u so what say nyame nipa ye beef da. Let's open our eyes, Ghana's youth. It's about time work. Stop going to church. It's a waste of time. Sit down in your house, pray. God will listen to you. These pastors are doing business. They are getting money through with the youth. Work and get money. There's no single pastor in Yankupon Kasachran or Ghana Maimuha. They are all liars and hypocrites. If they are not
President Nanado, your friend Matheson, Sunyana Namiwo. Makotna awonum Holland akọ sam infifure sika kakra mi nyaaye no me dia ba mia me maimu Ghana dia ba beto registered bank JN bank yi President Nanado Uber TV so be ka kire Ghana for say JN bank anye na dwuma yi ti waje bank na licenses no wo the customers ni sika be mo 3 years muni Mansa kan mi sika kakra ka ye no so 550 million. Media kwa to commercial bank. Na me nim say commercial bank de me di misika koto ho a e save. President Nanado enam IMF bosiana wo kwa akoboni nti. Osimi misika 550 million na odi akwa akoye adwuma nya interest wo so no. Once the Quran onfa mame. Misika trend no so. O se onfa mame. Just 2024 na sika no interest ketewa no a menya no obema me mu 5%. Menya adwuma wo Ghana mintimi so enko Holland se me ekoye adwuma mimfi akọ animu kakra kwan ben so na mefa so a me na meyire ne memba yibedidi. Mr. President mesero se me ma se me be street carefully ho mia mi sika makosam infifre enya no mesero se obema mensa aka Obi bia obi tie saa me audio me recording yi bi no. Mesram se mo de beto mo platform so. Ebetimi afa so ma President Nanado Nensaka we nyama se mi bi etie. Ghana mpem for mesram so se mo ne President Nanado be kasa ma me. Medamase.
Good morning, President Nanado Adankwa Akufo-Addo. No pay me bano boko. Midin the ASP retired Franklin Nati. Mesun Ghana ewo police mu 24 plus years. Na me gratuity Mansa kano milito bond 2 years. Aka 1 year this year, September. Year 2023. Na mi bond no amateur. Wu adwina wudi ba ye say wakoboka ana wa bugana abofom enti me bra ma bre sika medi to bond no commercial bank no onfa mame we enye am robber ena ebe chimi jimi sika o oman panyi a ya tu abama no se onhwe yeso emra wo fru plane 18,000 pounds an hour nkrofo kachre wante emra wo fa so many ministers se omunu na oni omu betumi aye adwuma nkrofo kachre wante ene your incompetence inti me bre amabre me disika yedi tua me ka se gratuity me fa hwe me ho so no usi wafa this is 2033 se mi manum na opese omumbe jisika na minana no mo a minim president woni diemu misrew unuana ni bank edi enim eji loans no mfaso a wanya no misrew mano fansa mfaso no ekutu sika no mesika no mfa mame nanado utrimu yedin papa obi ama yedjuma Ghana mra kire se 24 years plus no yentu ameka as a retired officer no usi untu ameka menya 60 years ye nanado minister mibisa wo have you been a civil servant in Ghana before? Have you worked as a civil servant? Please nanado mimpese mbe kasatiao mimpese mbe dumi wusu eni ubusia debi midi yao esreo tise na Mr. Matheson efrisunyani esreo no jai misika mami midi di ASP Franklin Kwesi Nate mi tome bon wo commercial bank. It was Accra North branch. Please, I beg you, in the name of God, don't touch my money. Don't touch my money. Don't touch my money. Anybody who receives this, please send it to as many platforms for Nana Adodanko Akufo-Addo to see, to hear, and to see. Or his cousin Ken Oforiata should hear. Please, Nanado, I'm not supposed to beg you. Because when you were begging that you should be tried, I remember traveling from Kumasi to Kofrodua to vote for you 2016, thinking you are bringing something on board. I regretted it. I have regretted all my life. Some friends told me, Anka unya accident or question na uya. Well, Nanado, please, whoever received this message, forward it to as many platforms. Let Nanado hear me and ensure I have my money. Thank you.
What's name wacha? Mama inji 2 years. Says here the fear be 2 years. I want them. What's name? What's name 2 years? We are 2 years account. Says here no. So then someone has said per se. Open single room. Says here no put 600. Put 500. Put 700, 800. You're dying. Says here agent for age 100 CDs for viewing fee, and I say 80 Ghana for viewing fee. Just show you the room. Says here if you're a for beer, the Omodayam agent for Uchia 9,600. Also Uchia agent 900, 600, 900 and almost 1,000 CDs. Why? Says here you to the end day. Why? Like why? What? Like why? Hey, like it's serious. Say, Matsna demo 2 years. I'm paying 8,000. Now I'm supposed to pay 9,600. And you are taking the 2 years. You take 1 year and put. Because you see, me 6 months in 1 year. Se see ade we year juma me fiera. Uba boa no busumi pay a the amount. Say 600 or say 700. You have to eat only small one pay because a whole month no pay. And si back on one be den. Ume hwe bibi ye o. Ume hwe bibi ye wo man mu ampani for mun kan wan sam hwe na youth for ye bre na ye kunkum ye anyhow. A direct inti ye be imponti no. Ube komo ye kun. Bobe koma ye kunti youth no nti ye bra no muhu edan sem kunye adai how Ghana ye ble papa adai and then fiera walk in nka jeverese me patro me diamond do because who agents viewing fees or do cut them or bet you 80 CDs and now say 100 CDs and then dance so man dying who could have 600 oh nothing room name or do 2 years 600 CDs 2 years because of that into the ultimate data or no person or two now or do a for a show on 600 500 that they would turn into a person who 2 years. At moon come shame my say youth in the year bread. Ye any a better abone, ye ask me a to aba. I make a very influence in call for KK.
Yeah, so basically what you have there are you have communication specialists, directors of communications, deputy directors of communications, technical communication assistants, media aides, media liaison officers,
are you kidding me?
Communication consultant, presidential advisor on media who has a technical director to the presidential advisor. Then you have the ministers of state at the presidency.
And these guys are there for information minister.
Yes.
No, go to that list again. Just on the communication side.
There's a lot to communicate.
Stop it.
I'm just telling you.
You have information minister who's cabinet level.
Who has ISD working for him too.
And then you're having all these guys working under the presidency.
Who work under communications directorate. Yeah.
Of the presidency.
Yeah. There's a lot to communicate.
Can't be serious.
I'm just telling you, there's a lot to communicate.
So and what are the conditions of service of these people?
Nobody knows. That's the issue.
That's why the transparency is not. So if I'm a lecturer in Legon and I've been teaching for 15 years, right? And I struggle to get my PhD. And then you have somebody who is a technical director to something who has access to fuel. Read the letter they wrote. They said their fuel thing is not gone up. So this technical director, what's the competence, what's the qualification of somebody to do this work? So if we are not transparent, and I'm saying that this is mathematics, this one is not sentiment. If the government wants the pressure from the labor unions to go down, and they want to, and if they want a credible plan for IMF to, if the plan is not credible, see, if people don't accept the plan, it's not credible. If the labor unions, the businesses don't accept the policy, the IMF will not accept it. So if they will not be transparent with these guys and say, this is what we are doing, I can't understand why you have all these guys working and what are they doing? You said they have a lot to communicate. What are they communicating?
I'm just telling you. But if what would be the justification for
look at
directors of communications?
Mention the mention the post again. Mention the thing again.
So the directors of communications.
How many directors of communication?
Yes, 4.
4 directors of communication, and then deputy director of communication.
There are 5 deputy directors
at the presidency.
Yes.
And then which one again?
2 communication specialists.
So the director is not a specialist. Okay, the specialist below.
There's a lot to communicate.
2 communication specialists and
2
then
communication officers. 5 technical communication assistants.
So you have 4, 5, 9, 6, 7 plus 3, 10, 15.
Media aid.
How many?
1.
Media aid.
Assistant media liaison
16,
officer.
17.
Communication consultant. 18. Then there's a presidential advisor on media.
Charlie, are you sure you're not joking? Are you sure? What are you? What? He's not joking. What are you saying?
No. Of all the positions,
let's go to this again.
Osibisa. Fire will burn you. That's the program. Yes. Mansa Musa, I am sitting here and I'm ready. I am the driver of this ship. Come and join me to drive this ship so that we can sail away. It's a Wednesday. A beautiful one like that. Kumasi kajatia for me checha muna. Biya shembi say biya kosu kama mamo. I have to remind you guys or tell you that on Saturday afternoon evenings I will host a special program. I'll have a special program about this SONA thing. So the SONA is what? State of the Nation address. President gives it. Now we have Mr. Esiedun Ketia. He is the chairman of NDC. He has also come out to present what the NDC people call the true SONA. The first question is this the first time that SONA has been reproduced by the opposition, or it is something that is in commonplace? If you know it, kindly call me and let me know. I think this is a novelty. I don't know if it is. But yeah, Mansa Musa knows a lot, but not everything that Mansa Musa can say he is aware of. So kindly, if you think what I am saying is wrong and that CNM Katia, what is just done has been done before by the MPP or whatever it is, whoever done it, let us know. We'll talk about it. But CNM Katia has produced a new SONA. Then we have these issues about the vaccines. If you recall, recently, about a week or two ago, the noise and the trending news was all about measles, polio, and the rest of them. And it is that, governments, especially those governments on the west coast or over the equator in West Africa, where these diseases were previously very prevalent, where this sort of disease was actually a commonplace in times gone by. Now, though, this disease has been controlled due to a vaccine that usually are given to children, before they grow to become even children. They should be given when they are babies. Right, so it has been like that, and people had actually taken it for granted. Measles and polio and the rest, they were only spoken about maybe in the circles of hospitals and serious health debates, but it wasn't a common sort of, conversation everywhere, as it has happened recently that everywhere you pass on any radio station, radio conversation was all about lack of vaccines for these preventable diseases, That is what it has been for a while. And the responses from government was that, we have the money ready, everything is ready, just that the whole world, due to COVID, COVID, so COVID, everything is COVID's fault. Okay, COVID, maybe. Anyway, so our government, because COVID, had somehow concentrated the minds of world opinion and also of investors and manufacturers and all those. So instead of producing measles and those vaccines for children, infants, Rather, factories and engineers and scientists were producing COVID vaccines. So because of that, our government, led by Kufuor, says there was shortage of vaccine on the world market or on the world stage. This when they said, lots of people protested and said, no, it won't be true that the world has run out of vaccines for these preventable diseases, and that the government itself maybe had rather run out of cash, no money to purchase them. So as we say in Fanti, then it came to a point, all of a sudden the announcement was all over the place that, the vaccines for the measles and the rest, they have arrived. That is how Mr. Paul Adumochiri speaks. Arrived. I'm telling you, they have arrived. Okay, that's nice and good. Then the next very day, we were told that even though some of the vaccines have arrived, they have arrived on the goodwill of our neighboring countries, be it Nigeria and Côte d'Ivoire. That because we are struggling, we cannot, purchase it on the world market. Nigeria and Côte d'Ivoire apparently have extra or surplus, so they brought it to our government. This, the government did not tell Ghanaians, so it's all nicely covered that, the government has released funds and they've bought vaccines, you see. So this vaccine problem, we thought has been solved, but it hasn't, because if you see what I'm reading here, it is by the Northern Region Health Director. It's a measles vaccine supply not enough for mass campaign. That means what they have is not enough to immunize, the children mass, even in that region, let alone the whole country. It's the acting Northern Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Brahima Abubakari, has a beautiful name. Brahima Abubakari has disclosed that although the Northern Region Health Directorate received some quantities of measles vaccine, they are not enough for a mass vaccination exercise. He said the quantity received was only enough for routine immunization, noting that the Directorate can only embark on mass campaign if more consignments are supplied. There has been an outbreak of measles in all 16 metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies of the Northern Region. The outbreak followed a shortage of measles polio vaccines in the region since last year, that is since 2022. Then it goes on, it said that Tamale Metropolis has been the worst affected, with reports suggesting at least 5 have died since the outbreak in January. You see, this story that the report says that 5 people have died since January is not known to many Ghanaians, because the health minister and the president, they came on, put the microphone on their lips to tell Ghanaians that, so far no child has died. Oh, Jesus Christ. You see, sometimes presidents or head of state, they are immune to something, to certain charges. But the health minister, who has now been awarded national award, when he comes to tell Ghanaians that so far there have not been, fatal cases or no death, this outbreak of measles has not caused the death of any child so far. And now we are hearing that so far 5 have died since January. we keep using this sentence, this phrase, in any proper jurisdiction. You see, I say in any because Ghana for mohukra ye mobo muni capacity a mwankasa enye se de edibu man de ye capacity no a ye de tinoma biase se ewiase na ye wo no woto abama mpanifo say they should come and work, for your benefit. Yentu aba ewa brochire aha emma brofo mpanifo say omo benya tumi no omo bedi ye so and ye from honorable and yes I debi. And in this situation alone, demonstration be a course of brochire Sanka France and a health minister Bejina Waka say, oh, I call it now for Dr. Biaba so oh, since January and Kuala 5 na ewa. Ebe. We keep saying in any proper jurisdiction, fire will burn people. You see? So this doctor is saying that the Tamale metropolis has been the worst affected, with reports suggesting that at least 5 have died since the outbreak in January. The government recently acquired some vaccines for measles for onward distribution across the country in attempt to stop the further spread of the viral disease to other parts of the country. However, Dr. Braimer told Ghana Webats the opening of the 2022 performance review meeting of the Northern Regional Health Directorate in Tamale on Wednesday, March 2022, that we received quantities that were to support our routine immunization services for the next 6 weeks. You see, Abaino endi nukure enchre Ghana for Ekufuado eni nukrofo Ekufuado ye twa picture bi na video bi na omo kona ondam na wakunkum nenim utumu se bebi onam no ompe ni yemo nkonnam abrochire bebi utum se chese ni bu afunu ho just say or your president, he has to be there. I think that was the Achu Christian Achu funeral or something. Na Kufuado akunkum nenim ti said dia enkano we akwalana Saturday do na yesi yenko efuom. You going to go to the farm and you don't want to go. You see, I only wanted to go to farm when it is my wicked friends to go and destroy things. Alrighty. But proper farming with the adults, I didn't like it at all. You see what I mean? You see what I mean? Jesus Christ, Ekufuado. So the health minister who has been awarded, given a national award for some excellence, Mintiasio, the minister has been given a certain award for certain excellence. Someone who has failed miserably over these years, miserably. Either things that he has done was tantamount or, almost bordering on criminality, buying medicines overpriced, a whole lot of things. You come and tell us that, oh, he wasn't thinking straight by them. Just say, Oman ye buni biara. And he said, no say, Nipa 5 have died out or because of this measles outbreaks in northern part of the country. Just imagine, these are maybe the places they can count them or it's been recorded. Likely that many have died, but the health minister and the president came to lie to Ghanaians. They don't give a damn because Omu said Ghana for no, they are as docile as lambs. Omu ye better. Nobody will go on demonstration. No baby, ye to me fanipa. Ye fanipa ebe gu elore kwan ho ebuomo keke. Who can ho, ni abu sa prepraw. I hear that one of them has died out of his wounds or something. Ashama, I'm talking about. Just run people and beat them all. Then later they are all released without charge. And nobody is going on demonstration in Ghana. Akufo-Addo will look into the eyes of Ghanaians and select people who are known NPP supporters or members. Obviously, the whole country, every adult is supposed to vote. We're supposed to vote. So people have very, serious attachment to political parties. Others don't have. Others are generally neutral. If you're able to convince them or lie to them properly, they will vote for you. But to bring people who are known to be members of your party to go and head or form part of the head of electoral commission, Ghanaians are quiet. Sometimes I don't want to blame Ghanaians because the point is everyone is overwhelmed. People are hungry. People are not that, in Europe, all these people striking and demonstrating heavily in France on the streets of Paris. At the end of the day, they all go to their homes. They have the very, the basic to live on. Unlike in Ghana, you go and demonstrate and come, you don't have the basic to live on. That's the difference. So people are just keeping themselves to themselves. Also, they are afraid to be attacked and killed. Unlike in Europe, one person died in the strike or demonstration, the inquiries and investigations that will take place and the compensation paid. But in Ghana, they know. As we say, Ye Jimmy kura dodo. I remember 1988. Let me see if I can find this. 1988. The president of South Africa, that time it was a white man, right? He made some comments about Africans and blacks in general. That comment he made, some of us at that time were grown up enough to be annoyed by that comment. Where are we? Let me see if I can read it. If I can open it and read it. The president, his name was William Botha, Peter William Botha, in 1988. He said black people cannot rule themselves because they don't have the brain and mental capacity to govern a society. Give them guns, they will kill themselves. Give them power, they will steal all the government money. Give them independence and democracy, they will use it to promote tribalism, ethnicity, bigotry, hatred, killings, and wars. Ladies and gentlemen, you tell me, as someone bringing way at that time now we are young boys and girls, who demonstrations near the idea. What is it? Moving forward to today. You see how sad, how disgraceful it is. Black people cannot rule themselves because they don't have the brain and mental capacity to govern a society. Give them guns, they will kill themselves. Give them power, they will steal all the money, all the government money. Give them independence and democracy, they will use it to promote tribalism, ethnicity, bigotry, hatred, killings, and wars. This was said in 1988 by Peter William Botha, the then South Africa president. I'm telling you, I said some of us, we were young boys and girls, we took umbrage, we were angry that this guy said this about us Africans. But lo, oh, behold, and lo, behold, aren't we all rather, aren't we today proving him right? Huh? So, as it is, the governing body in Ghana, they tell the people anything. Akufo-Addo came out with something called SONA, the State of the Nation Address. He spoke, and if you listen to the contents and read it, I've seen it, it is as though the government has done so well. And it is as though some people are ungrateful. Or the government's opponent and the trader, they are ungrateful. Because if you listen to the president, I don't know whether they take all Ghanaians really to be fools, or they themselves are somehow, ignorant about where they stand. I don't know which is which. So after that, Mr. Esiedun Ketia of the NDC group also came with long list of comments, words, and sentences saying the direct opposite of what the president read to Ghanaians. We have to discuss this. Whether you are MPP or NDC, we got to discuss this. We got to find out where the credibility, or where lies the credible state of, the true state of nation, of the state, the true nation, the true state of our nation. Where does it lie? Like I told you, I'm reading here. The report says that since the outbreak of measles in January, about 5 people have died. President and health minister, who is actually completely out of, he's out of his depth, as they say. He is completely lulu balu, or whatever they say it. If you actually catch him, sit down and ask him proper intelligent questions, he will fumble everywhere. If he hasn't got the protection or the backing of his, the support of his parliamentary group, he will fumble and fumble and fumble and fumble. This is the guy Akufo-Addo has on it, in spite of everything. Is it just to annoy Ghanaians? Just to tell us that they don't give a damn about us? Anyway, I'll be back.
Say dear, yenam top connect so emani sika de bagana if we yasia fana nyina yenchia kapre. Ane aye free. Top connect amasika mani ayem rekra. Ye wuhia ne se wo be download with Top Connect app no e Play Store. Diama wo Android phone. And so we use iPhone so or Apple Store na download the Top Connect. Aye simple kra. Top Connect wa manda radio num so wo Europe, North America and Asia. Woman wo dofu sika fa Top Connect so aye ntem na emre na mawa hoto swonso sese die sika manu di foforo kra any Top Connect so we yan chechemu bia for Top Connect our +442 081 6155 and a +442 081 761 600 +447 882 950 088 and nasa hwehwe Top Connect our befon tintenfidie nyina so Top Connect fasika mane wa dofo sunjemu a unchia kapre Top Connect yensu ye die
Oyezu oyesa Munya NDC nya ewo United Kingdom na Ireland chapter da ma bri so michia na menyu ba bezian abato ho nkomo dem ma wore enyim na oka kakra na yakoto abaye ze yanim penyufo a wo party do wo da mi chapter ya meji ho nkomo na menyu ba bezi chairman akwa no ho nkomo da ma bri chairman akwa kampenyufo a wo ejina there to one do abana wombe chairman nemu chairman akwade ojina ho prekope nti mesraw de ebo to waba na eza ma chairman akwa na wabe chairman bo United Kingdom and Ireland chapter osane de okitan hihye bebre ya me na dom na so be chairman a opede ozuboa awo a eye member bo United Kingdom na Ireland na NDC party ni na da na dom hihye no mu binyi the establishment of a welfare program. Dem welfare program yi numu fosu binyi abribiara NDC nyi ehwehwem bo wo sekasama fem bibi kakre bi a ezeboto to nzama wa abra ahokyira aba no dem welfare program yi bohwe na wonsa ka bibi kakra ofi £50 zuko £400 na enyesika etume botua eyi ya chairman akwana adwe na opede odzeboa NDC ibiso nyi de NDC member biara obenya any immigration issue ana mbrem nsemi biara wo bibia otena wo United Kingdom ana Ireland chairman akwa establish mpenyumfo a wo betena ho na wahwe na advice biara oyembra kono do na wodi amaw impo se pelo yenyi bi no wejina na waka wasem bi amaw wo United Kingdom ha ana Ireland da mpenyumfi wo mu bi no me lawyers a obotum wejina ma amaw no waji bibi kakre bi wa bra obotum wa abo no wo bibiara so akodo welfare program kuriyara suya chairman akwa opede ozubobo azi onu so behwe na yenuanum a wo United Kingdom na Ireland nyinara awona wo ye into event organization photographers awona wo hihye bibia amanfo ye one parties one weddings nyina obaka wo nyinara abom dem obeya NDC member biara obenya any event de oye wedding outdooring bibiara no wetu wa bobo no wa ya ama no wa bra onkotue sika ti dem a okakafo bi wo pado ana enchen bi na wa baye da madina man chairman akona nimpemfu so bohwe na abribiara any welfare ana any social issue biara oba affect any member biara no obaba obo wechi na bibiara de wodemo ana bibiara de woye na wodebo wo program wa kodo no wetu wa yendam na ahomka wa ba welfare program yi bibia se nyamobo na se chairman akwa obeye chairman wo United Kingdom na Ireland no munsam kakra na me putu hu za achewi odobobaji na woda aboa awo member na woda aboa yen NDC MPyi na pebenazi munua NDC nya ewo United Kingdom na Ireland to waba former chairman akwa nyamobo na sanensa kazebiu na ono so obegina na wahwede mama ka nyinara odebe yidwuma na party na akwa nanyim.
Right. Where are we? Okay, that is it. Okay, OCBSI is telling us fire will burn you. I always have to remind you, it is just a metaphorical. I don't want fire to burn anybody. Just that when you approach, when you come here, it is like fire. But then we have to be very careful of how we use fire. You treat fire as a servant and it will serve you well. If you let fire become your manager or your boss, then soon fire will be your enemy. Don't allow that to happen. Take care of all the fittings, the connections, especially Ghana for motor plug, extension lead back on. Then you plug so many things onto it. It creates heat, generates heat. And sooner or later, fire will engulf and destroy your livelihood or your own person. So take that in mind and don't play with fire. Anyway, the discussion before I went for my commercial break is all about the fact that the way we are governed generally in Africa, especially West Africa, thinking about the fact that this doctor in the northern part of Ghana Northern Region, Dr. Abubakari. It's a beautiful, beautiful name. Let me check the name again. I like the way. Is it beautiful? Brahma, Dr. Brahma Abubakari. Beautiful, strong name like that. He says he's the director of Northern Region Health Service. And he's saying that the vaccines that have been provided to them is just for the routine exercises. But if they want to do mass immunization, they haven't got enough. The story was that the government, that is the head of the government, Akufo-Addo, and his health minister all came to assure Ghanaians that there has not been any death since this outbreak began. Meanwhile, this, according to the reports, says that since January that the outbreak began, at least five people have died out of this measles and the rest. So I was thinking that, look, this deceit and misspeaking and undermining credibility in public affairs is getting overboard. It's just too much. And in Europe, if this happens, it is the youth. They will hit the street. The same applies to, almost 200 people being caroled and being rounded up like sheep and goats, brought to the open and beaten mercilessly. Apparently, one of them has already died. All for no substantial reasons. And all of them have been released. Verse 2, it won't happen in France for the youth and the people to just stay quiet. They will show their teeth and anger to the state authorities. Sometimes they go overboard fighting the police. Because the European themselves, apart from their government, the citizens have the capacity to know, to think, realize that when they vote, it is for persons to come and serve them. They are not to be lectured to. They are not to be lied, sometimes deliberately to. That is why I came to remember what Mr. Kit Yosin sent me about 2-3 days ago. About this 1985, I had forgotten. Some of us are old enough to know this. It's not something history I read in a history book. It was my day. And those days, students and this, in fact, I was in the castle, that sort of thing. So, not that I took part, but I was young enough to know what the National Union of Ghana students, the NUCs, and other enlightened groups, they were angry. They were annoyed that man, the white man of South Africa, would say something of this nature about blacks or about Africans. But moving forward, all these years, it's a shame that our activities as blacks, our actions, has proven that man right. I've got Mr. Kit Yosin on the line, but before I go to him, let me read once more what Mr. Botha in 1988 said about us Africans. He said black people cannot rule themselves because they don't have the brain and the mental capacity to govern a society. Goodness me. At that time you hear this and you are going mad. You want to chew any white man you can get. He said give them guns, they would kill themselves. Give them power, they will steal all the government money. Give them independence and democracy, they will use it to promote tribalism, ethnicity, bigotry, hatred, killings, and wars. Peter William Botha, South Africa, 1988. Ladies and gentlemen, someone will say anymore Guasi. Mr. Kit Yosin.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. Some of these conversations, honestly, it is very difficult to hold them or to, to speak. But we got to be blunt and say that this man, what he says, has come to pass, and he has been proven right, isn't it?
Yes, it is, absolutely. He has been proven right. Three people in the world spoke about the same thing. The first one was Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah in 1957 when he said, the black man is capable of running his own affairs. So the white man must leave us. That is an attainment of independence. That's 1957. Then in 1965, a white man came, a white man from Scotland, but he became the first. He was in Rhodesia, that is now Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe, yeah.
It's called Mr. Ian Smith, Prime Minister of Zimbabwe or Rhodesia at that time. In 1965, that man said, give black man 1,000 years, he cannot rule himself. I was a growing up kid. We were hungry. What? Oh, come on, somebody trust now. We cannot run our own affairs, or we can't rule ourselves. Now, Akuma, so them Siabotar. Mr. Butala says, if 1988, so Mr. P.W. Butter, also the Abattoir. In fact, these three people are all saying the same thing. Number one, Nkrumah said we are capable of running affairs. But we, by our own actions in Africa, not just Ghana, in the whole of Africa, by our own actions, we have disproved what Nkrumah was saying, even though what Nkrumah was saying was the right thing for the black man. You see, it's a very sad situation of things there. We need to get it corrected now. Sisi Ama Misha, on top of my head, there's Ghana. Then you know MPP, we will in 21 years at least, a total of 21 years. That's MPP. If you want to make actually, Buzi and 3 years or come, Utu Nkrumah Buzi and 3 years, 1969 to 72, that count. Including Kufuor's 10 years, no, but at least 21 years for the NPP. Fine. No, Ghana. Everybody NDC, or the PNDC count, it's also by a total of 26 years. That is the 47 years now, or between MPP and NDC. If you had Mr. Liman Kawan, PNP, or 2.5 years. Then the military rule, National Redemption Council and Supreme Military Council, also 7.5 years. It's in Ghana 57 years. And 57 years ago, Kwame Nkrumah was removed. We still have, we cannot balance things. The fact that they are saying we cannot manage our own affairs, because me, I would say, Mansa Musa, me, I would say, my wife and member, you be no ocean member, you be no ocean wife. And if you get a food, be a family, your wife and kids, or husband and kids, no, you know, we feed ourselves, we build for our families. Now, how come there, we have a government, man? We cannot do it on and on. We are not totally useless as individuals. But when we get together to form a government now, that is where the problems come, Mansa Musa. Now, me before it, I'm Mr. Rollins Bayon. Let me see Ghana. I was in the United Kingdom. Mohun Kofupi, who gone if Ghana, London, UK. They are still here. We do Mukompo. We feel the worker. Rollins goes to be chased one. Unkofu will be and Jama, Mr. Botariki. What government we Yamana? Young Kofu, a report, a soft count, teachers count, ministers count, politicians count, all sorts of people in Ghana. We now count, not only one person, all types of Ghanaians. We are bankers, 1 week more bank in Adina. We now count, no money by UK, Germany, United States of America. Asylum, either asylum, we seek asylum. And we continue to why? Because there's a military takeover. Why? Because Mr. Rollins was chasing to discipline them. The people were being shot in baby. After all this, Rollins were still. If you were government, you can the government share away your ministry. Watch his Kennedy, MDC and people for watch his Kennedy. One or come some. We are going some do Mr. William Minasami. From 2012, I started debating on that one. Nobody has taken any money from some charge William seriously because William also there. So what for now? Bob Bonko from Woods. Now, she said, and for Bob Woods, say we are on your MPP from Kuting. No, on your NDC from Kuting. Both sides. At Tamres and San Lubu will occur the moment to them, which are never because never put on very seriously. These are some of the critical issues which Mr. Bota is saying in South Africa, which is true. Not that I'm happy what he said.
We are not happy. No. But it is the sad truth. Unfortunately, we got to say it.
Got to say it. Oh God. Ghana. Ghana for the southern Ghana, we are better off. Look at southern Ghana. I mean from Shinyani, Kumasi, up and down to Cape Coast to Hafasini to Lomi, or Volta region, I don't know. We are better off than our brothers and sisters in the northern Ghana, where desert Kakra there. And which the Papani or northern Ghana, upper west, upper east, and northern Ghana. I want to go. How about the incident to me? I'm managing her own affairs. Them are coming Kuma Ken. And pay bomb pay crop on you. Yakupankwa must be fed up with us. The reason we cannot get it together, why? So, I mean, I belong to a CPP faction. Sincerely, seriously, you're a carbon. Yeah, you will see people in films. You're a carbon. We are getting united. Until we are after June, information will be out. After June, in the PNC, CPP, Progressive People's Party, you're a carbon. Other small political parties in the Ghana Union Movement or other, you're a carbon. Nothing else, you're a baby. You're about 2024 to fight on equal basis. You share because say if we rely on both NDC and MPP, Mansa, we want to see a change. That's what we are hoping for. What's it to him? The attitude only I know. Attitude him since 26 February 1966. But then it's good for Kwame to have gotten off the scene. Near Shawana will be replacing him. Literally. And people will be replacing Kwame. No raising funds for Western countries. No, CIA, whatever. Okay, we'll remove Nkrumah, which is fine. Nkrumah Ghana and young commander. No, we'll remove now. Good. But what did you put in place? No? That is the problem for us Ghanaians. What did you put in place? Come on. On Soviet bloc, Eastern bloc, Soviet Union, United States, Soviet Socialist Republics. Only Ghana from back, correct. You are sitting in school, no one scholarships are coming from the man for no Piara, MPP, CPP, but the ultimate Piamo correct. And so many people trained from USSR or Russia, Poland, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, East Germany, we now come on walk right. Yes, people from Bankutina walk right. And people from Basso Okribi. So many medical doctors and all the would train were Ukraine, the Ukraine, Madam Yakaobi. Yes, sir. We never say, come on, this is what he meant for Ghana. That's because of political unity. Why in Bassa, and people fire Bassa, now she's here there. Oh, Yakra. Why a big mistake? Why we them silent now? Nkomayo, Ghana. So why you couldn't? We didn't know I ghost town, Bino, we saw. And what top food crop on
and then that be the more me share clip will be about I think Joy News clip talking about one district, one factory, and Konongo area Hona was some factory be plantain factory.
Yes.
So the people, the locals say, yet is some basic factory. There's a factory party, and you know correct. But now one woman was saying, me say, but then a boanti Togo phone a better corner say, oh, fast you call Russia, Okay, pena me able shame, and I'm saying, you see, that Congo area, the Russians and Chinese were building some heavy industrial complex. Oh.
Yes.
You know what happened to them?
They kill most of them.
They kill all of them, about 200 and plus. Americans directed the Okotoka Afrifa coup makers that these people were communists. They were not human beings. They kill all of them. And these people were the people who were giving us technology. Meanwhile, the Americans themselves, all what they were giving us was boogaloo and afigood, parana. But American culture was that what we started learning. Any. Somebody wanted to give us technology, we killed them. Now, so because we don't have the capacity to run our affairs, it's right.
Oh, yeah, because Papano, Pamu the things in Kuma saw atomic. Ghana, Accra, in Kofu, people talk about atomic.
Yes,
it's atomic. One tasi. But this time, what atomic nuclear power, my electricity, or generate electricity. No, me,
I grew up, in fact, it was the army which sent me to those places. Now, sir, if you go and see those things now, just say, I was Begu, you get some shrill in your body. No, you know where I trained? We trained at Afienya.
Yeah.
Yes. There was a big hangar, aeroplane hangar, and we were sent there to train. It was that place was known as Youth Training Institute, built by Nkrumah, and there's a big hangar. This hangar was closed and green colored closed. So we started asking questions. Even as at that time, some of the old soldiers were afraid to even tell the history. They were even afraid to say, oh, Nkrumah built this and that. But what we saw was that there is like small trees. One particular area from the hangar, you see that the trees were straight, about 2 mile or 3 kilometer length of the vegetation. The vegetation was very straight. So that is where the man was explaining, one of the instructors explained that, oh, this was supposed to be the runway. So after they put the gravels and they use the tractor and the things to roll the gravels and everything, it was after that they overthrew Nkrumah. So that particular straight line of vegetation, it actually shows that place was a runway. It's about 3 kilometers. Yeah, and absolutely. When we were told this, Missy, I was Sabegu.
Hey, Papa, what come saw Ima, Dr. Buja, obey the first statement of Omikino. Those days, Ghana Medical School was the hospital was an infant hospital, for doctors, training of doctors. No, but they were absolute beginners. So no show off the Ghana Fukobu Russia who medicine had in a second rate type of people. I'm not Professor Buja Lokai. Or condemn me, Russian trained Ghanaians. Or condemn everything. What Mr. Hey, small boy, Mr. Anna, Papa, who's a professor? Nana didn't the because
meanwhile, you see that mentality noir, mentality no they condemn me, That mentality, a particular British mentality. The Americans don't even talk like that, because Americans, when in Mansa, the time they overthrew Nkrumah, the atomic, the sensitive part of it, sound where they to go and study.
United States of America.
According to historians, Khrushchev and his people were very angry. The way what they want technology come and Bibifubia will go room and my Bibifun will hand over America for.
Ghana Army.
Jesus Christ.
In the end, what is this? The beautiful story is that Professor Musa and NPP, UP, they condemned Nkrumah for going communism. Fine. Aligning ourselves to Russians and Chinese. And what happened? They condemned the Chinese from heaven to hell. And the NPP, one friend in NPA, China for What are you going? Come want to China first. You condemn them. Why are they there? Today, 2023. Why don't China or NPP office or NPP as a party or office? Some say Radian coupon. A car boy, I win come the first Ghanaian human being to go to China. African student in China. I'm not sure the book. But I'm sure they have got a book here. Or heavy or something like that, Volta region. It was the first Ghanaian or African or black student there. One pen and coffee were racist.
Of course.
If you are United States of America, I want to show Nubuku an African student in China. Come across or Bani than booking. At that time, I will check a boom. Come ban that book. What the animal farmer ban so. But we are saying a story. What Nkrumah saw in 1950s, no MPP. They are now looking at it. We're condemning them for going to China. Why are they there? Why are they there today?
No, as for these people, they are just opportunists. They know that there's money there to be had. Maybe a
sadly, because of that, the plan of New Patriotic Party or United Party was very bad because you hate your opponent. Any project be or you be a share takwa emize na mifi nti ni ho takwa ABA when you to gold mines across the road Nkwama built gold refinery or that you want to gold in dust no that bar refinery no refinery sir trinkets nyame pia and Ghana fuko Dubai wokoto no na goldsmith for they encourage more of them to be producing these things inside Ghana. Then we export it to UK. You got billions and billions of dollars each year from us. Yes, and the Ghana for plane. Okay. Yakuba operation Ghana for plane. The cost of getting on the plane to Dubai to buy gold trinkets. Gold is in Tapa, in Konongo, in Obuasi. Oh yeah, it's a big curse.
Minyakubi of Itakran local. Onyambo sama. Kid Yosin, listen, we'll be going on and on, but Sir P.W. Bota said we are not strong in the brain enough, no? We are proving him right, unfortunately. Yes.
Unfortunately.
What a sad situation. Listen, I thank you very much. You can tune in and listen. It is a later, no? I'll be glad to have you.
Medasi. Thank you. I'll do so. Thank you. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Right. Osibisa. Fire will burn you. Metaphors. This is the title of my show. It is Nighttime Politics, coming to you from NFM Radio, which is actually sponsored by Top Connect when it comes to remittances. If you want to send money to Ghana, Africa, elsewhere, it's all about Top Connect. Right, so we're talking about, I read something. If you just tune in, welcome. I read something that was written or said by blacks or said by a white South African racist somebody. But he said this about blacks, about Africans. And for me, as sad, as bad, as difficult, as painful that his statement, his message was those days, we Africans, we blacks, we have turned, or we are almost, what do we call it, proving him right. Mr. P.W. Bota, South Africa, 1988, he said, black people cannot rule themselves because they don't have the brain and mental capacity to govern a society. Give them guns, they will kill themselves. Give them power, they will steal all the government money. Give them independence and democracy, they will use it to promote tribalism, ethnicity, bigotry, hatred, killings, and wars. This was 1988. I remember, the Choboy and the Aluta Continua that time the NUCS, that's National Union of Ghana Students, how they were up in arms demonstrating against South Africa. You see, today, me and you and I, where do we stay? Where are we there now? Can we really say that this man said those things he said were foolish and that it wasn't true? Can we really govern ourselves? How have we made of the what do we call it, the chances, the opportunities that we've had to govern ourselves? Have we got a mental capacity? Why is it that we got all the wealth on this world, on this planet? We have everybody, everything. Almost Ghana, Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, Guinea, all those people. Everybody has something. I mean, everybody should have some mineral and some certain things that others don't have. If we had men, or we had a capacity to govern ourselves properly, we should be living better. Not richer, not in absolute riches or anything, but as a people, we should be living better than Europeans. Europeans don't have much apart from their brains to capitalize and even sometimes lie to everybody that what they are doing is the best. Look at recent happenings, right? Russia and Putin said, hey, my bre, so maybe Najuna boom. He's tired. So he took his arms to go and fight. Americans say, hey, we are the only people who can kill as many people as we want if we want. You don't have that right. So stop the war or we put sanctions. Americans say they are putting sanctions on Russia. But you and I, me and you, if you are people, you are the type who don't listen to any news, then God bless you because you don't have any pressure. But if you have to listen to news everywhere, you will hear that American banks, European banks, they have started to struggle. You see, the reason they are struggling, these Western media, they are powerful propaganda media, they will never tell you the truth. But the truth is that the sanction is hurting them. It's hurting the Americans and the British and the West more than it's hurting Russia. I mean, look at the volume, the weight of these sanctions, yeah? There is not a single country in Europe which can withstand these sanctions for a year and still be standing. There isn't. But it's the Europeans and Americans whose banks are struggling. So the sanctions and the rest they are talking about, they are dragging everybody along with them to go down. And if we had sensible leaders, they will be strong enough to see and read between the lines and see that no, we have to play a good game here. We have to play clever. When we have to condemn, we will. But where we have to tread carefully so that we can gain what we want to gain from anywhere. And our fate is not only tied, our destiny is not tied only to the West. Abba! Our destinies, Africans, blacks, West Africans, it's not only tied to America. So they say, jump, we say how long or how high. Now they say sanctions. Their banks are struggling and they are drawing and dragging everybody into it. If the blacks, we have capacity to think for ourselves. This is the time to come together big time. You see the crisis we are facing. If like Europeans face those crises, you see their foreign ministers. They will be crisscrossing one capital in Europe and the other. They will be going from here, from Hague to Milan or to Rome, from Rome to London, from London to Dublin, from Dublin to Switzerland, Zurich, from Zurich to Berlin. They will be just crisscrossing, talking, doing shady deals, trying to think as to how to grip the rest of the world so that their people will live better. We have crisis in Africa, West Africa, crisis of even health, malaria and the rest. Our government, the heads of God wouldn't think, what at all can we do? What at all can we do to minimize this? We need to do something to stop us from always going to beg for medicines or help from others. So you see the foreign minister of Ghana travel to Liberia, Liberia foreign minister going to Benin, Benin foreign minister Gabon, to Cameroon, to Nigeria. They are always talking. They are always having a bilateral and multilateral and all that sort of things. No. You see that in Africa. Our president, they will take large entourage, chiefs and some people, hangers on, and they will send them to America to go and live in a massive hotel. Use the dollars to pay the American economy, boost the American economy. We don't have the capacity to run our society. We don't. Imagine, as we sit, as we are talking, as I am here, some African countries, they've had enough from France and of France. Some African countries, the leaders and the young people, they have enough. They don't want to see or hear or do nothing with France as a country. You know, the people are human beings, so no worries. But as a politics, as a country, they have enough. They don't want. But this is our Akufo-Addo. This is the time. Our Akufo-Addo want to go and tie our aprons to the French people. Akufo-Addo say you want to join the Paris Club. I want someone to ask Akufo-Addo if the Paris Club is anything good. Ask the rampaging crowd on the streets of Paris. Akufo-Addo wants to join the Paris Club. The Paris Club, see, these clubs, they are a group, or they are a party or a organization, a gathering of very, very, very rich individuals. A gathering of very, very rich, purpose individuals. They sit and think and direct and organize and design things for the rest of society. Then sometimes some of the small monies will reach other people. That's all. We don't need this in Africa. What we need is a concerted, proper effort to build the society, to build infrastructure, to be wise enough to get maximum from the white man or our competitors from the north. We have to be wise enough. Our leaders are not. Like I said, the problems we have in West Africa alone, let's think about malaria and its problems alone. Let's think about the encroaching Sahara, deforestation and the rest. It's a regional problem. So I said, if it was in Europe, you see the health minister of Ghana meeting the health minister of Benin, the health minister of Benin traveling to Burkina Faso traveling to Cameroon to Nigeria. You see them talking, the foreign ministers talking, gathering, having meetings, how to solve their problems. At a point, they can come together and say, look, we export so much and get little. Our people get very, very little. A laborer in UK or in Europe can decide, can think about the next 10 years to have mortgage. A laborer. And our people, not a laborer, a principal officer at the ministry, a top class head teacher, headmaster, a lecturer, does not have a chance in hell. All the years will be working. He cannot afford a mortgage. You can only afford these things unless you are doing something crude, something criminal in Africa. So if Mr. W.P. Botha, I remember very well when this man said these things. I remember, honestly speaking. When he said this thing, we were up in arms. I was young. He said black people cannot rule themselves because they don't have the brain and mental capacity to govern society. Believe me, when this man said this in 1988, we were up in arms, we were annoyed. I remember that time the NUCS, the National Union of Ghana Students, they organized a seminar, they organized a Choboi, a Luta Continua, and all that for a white, for South African to speak that ill of us blacks. But today, having to prove him right, he said, give them guns, they will kill themselves. give them power, they will steal and govern, and they will steal all the government money. It said give them independence and democracy, they will use it to promote tribalism, ethnicity, bigotry, hatred, killings, and wars. As same way are PW both account on 1988, you call me and tell me, say, so governance has become something that so-called democracy, to us Africans and our leaders, it has become a show, a road show, to prove to Westerners, especially that, we can also do it. That's all. That we can vote, and people will vote, and the outcome will be somehow, all of a sudden, anyway, if somebody will win. And that is called democracy. That's all. It has become a road show. Should it be like this? Ladies and gentlemen, should it be like this all the time? Is it true we haven't got a mental capacity to run our own affairs? The example I gave you this evening, that the president, Akufo-Addo, and the health minister, they all testified, said to Ghanaians that so far no one has died out of these measles outbreaks. Meanwhile, the report coming from the Savannah area of the northern region of Ghana, 5 people since January have died. Since January. Some of these things, like I say, the people with the capacity to run themselves, some of these deceit, outright, deliberate lies, European youth will not accept it. They will hit the street. So Akufo-Addo to think that there's something so good about these colonialists, so good about these French people, so we should go and tie our aprons to theirs. Go and join the Paris Club. If that club is any good, people will not be running amok in the streets of Paris with the police. They want to kill the police want to protect themselves in France. If that so-called Paris Club has anything good in it, Akufo-Addo ni ti no or the culture say or the ekofrefremubium, because it is true that we cannot do anything by ourselves. I say I mean, Jesus Christ. Even up to date, those days I was just in elementary school learning about the minerals we have in Ghana. We just learn it without actually appreciating, the substance of what we were saying. We have gold, we have manganese, we have bauxite, we have nickel, we have copper, we have steel, or is it iron ore. We have plenty fish in the sea. Ghana is those days is the world producer of cocoa, the first. Then we have this, we have that. Now we have oil, we have other minerals that are very, very useful for very, very serious, delicate instruments. We have all of them all. But the leaders are rubbish. The only thing, listen, for me, if I didn't live in Europe, maybe I wouldn't know. Whenever there's a cross-religion, not religion, but region, a cross-region problem in Europe, you see how their foreign ministers and other ministers of state travel from one of their capitals to other to meet, whether they are in the European Union or not. Still, they try to solve problems. Like we have a problem between Kosovo and Serbia proper. It's a serious problem. Look, Serbia is not in the European Union. Or is it, not in the European Union proper. And those things. But because it's in Europe, you see them traveling, you see them trying to solve the problem. We have such problems in Africa ever since independence. And our leaders all the time had to travel abroad to go and maybe beg, or I don't know what is going on. That is why, the other day someone sent me this, and, the ICC, International Criminal Court, has sentenced and charged the Russian president. I mean, this is a complete fallacy. I mean, this is just a bomb. All these people that between Bush, Clinton, and Obama, the people they've killed in the Middle East, which now because Russia they have deported children from Ukraine. So that one makes Putin a criminal. We have to arrest him. Now Africa forces also, then people are pushing that message. I'm looking at you people and say, no, not that I love some white man than any, but you are being foolish. You are being foolish. You, the Africans, set up your own court and try to even posthumously, as they say, sentence people who have deliberately destroyed Africa, like the King Leopold something of Belgium. What he did to Congo, sentence those people to some imprisonment, even though they are dead, and charge the Europeans for using your manpower all those years. Then you see, yeah, you are also talking. Now, Brofono, ICC, now emude, now mu pushing message, kwasiasem. But how from when people say kwasianya. Inkoja advert ba komi bani abetu aso.
For Society, Yenam Top Connect so Emani Sika de Bagana if we yasia fanenina yenchia capre. Anne, aye free. Top Connect a Masika money I am recra. You hear so but download it with Top Connect app no our Play Store. Diama or Android phone. And as we use iPhone so or Apple Store not download the Top Connect. Aye simple cra. Top Connect wa member radio numsu Europe, North America and Asia. Woman will dofu sika fa Top Connect so aye na emre na mawa hoto swonso sesedi sika manye di foforo any Top Connect so we yan chechemu bia for Top Connect our +442 081 6155 and a +442 081 761 600 +447 882 950 088 and nasa hwehwe Top Connect our befontin tefidie nyina so Top Connect Fesika mani wa dofwa sunjemu a unchia kapre. Top Connect yensu ye dienye.
Oh, those words that I hate to say. Coons and buffoons used against people of color for years in the times of slavery. In those days when children, babies were torn away from their mothers' breasts. When brother was turned against brother and sister against sister. When father and mother and child were sold to different bidders. In those painful years, for fear or for some little favor, one brother would say unkind things about another, so that master would whip that brother in public, and the one who reported him gets the crumbs off their table. Beware African leaders, for you are falling into this trap again. You've been to school, so don't be a fool. Think before you speak to the oppressor. Why would the head of one household rise from his household into another household, only to go and gossip and speak ill of their neighbor, their brother? What do they get? Why, in a time when all are saying, or of course a few are saying, hey, please don't beg, because when you beg, you disgrace us all, does one go to say unkind things about another, to one no better than the oppressor, so that he can get a favor? Think about it. You see, when you say people do not respect leaders, it is not that they don't respect leaders, they don't respect titles. For leadership is in what you do. Remember, there are no permanent friends, only permanent interests. Think.
National Democratic Congress NDC no nyam former ne mema mo UK ni Ireland chapter no. Ya yedie when I say beto aba every chapter chairman fofo. Ya said the chinelo mum no koto on swear. Enyo nyam for Dr. Joe Ajimai, the restoration man. ne fata sɛ ɛdi party no anim kan odi amonyesema kutile yi ne wetu ne hwesi wa ofama soronko so oni mu adwumade de ɛfa ne hotitiru na esine nan so nwade bebre no de egu akwamu a obɛyɛ de ama yɛn bi ni sɛ o sigina ye esiko no dwumade bia bekyerɛ party office na odisika £3 empembenum na ato ase ɛyɛ £5,000 osanjwe maguo ne mama ho so £1,000 na ɛbɛhyɛ omudwumade mu kena na esigina ye dodon so a bekyerɛ afoforo ɔmo bɛtwerɛ omudin abɛka party ne ho de ɔmo mbrakura o ɔmo sɛ bɛka omudi card ententem so na atwe adom abɛka ye ho ɛyɛ bosome miɛnsa bia nso party mu mpanimfo a ɔde dwumadi bɛhyɛ ɔmo nsa bia no ɔbɛto safra ɔmo atena se na deɛ yɛde ahyɛ ɔmo nsa no ɔmo abu ho apontam maako wei de bebre na na ɔbɛyɛ ama yɛn yo onua sɛ kɔtrekɔsɛ ɔbɛma wo ntoma bisa ne din yɛdeɛ yɛnim ne din ne Dr. Joe Adjumai the restoration man Tata chairman ana yɛntoma no
President Nanado yɛfrɛ me Matheson sunyane na mewɔ makɔtena awo no Holland akɔ sam mfifire sika kakra mi nyaayɛ no me de aba mia me man mu Ghana de aba beto registered bank ɛyɛ JN bank yi President Nanado oba TV so bɛka kyerɛ Ghana for sɛ JN bank anye n'adwuma yi ti wagye bank ne licenses no wo de customers ni sika bɛma ɔmo 3 years mu ni Mansa kan mi sika kakra ka ye no so 550 million me de akɔto commercial bank na me de mi sɛ commercial bank de me de mi sika kɔto ho a e save President Nanado enam IMF bosia na wo kwa akɔbɔ ne nti osimi mi sika 550 million na odi akɔ ye adwuma nya interest wo so no once de kora no omfa mame mi sika trene no so o se omfa mame je se 2024 na sika no interest ketewa no a menya no obema mi mu 5%. Menya adwuma wo Ghana mintimi so enko Holland se me koye adwuma mimfi akɔ animu kakra kwan ben so na mefa so a me ne meyire ne memma yibedidi Mr. President mesero se memma se me be street carefully ho mia mi sika makosam mfifire enya no mesero se obema mensa aka obi bia obi tie saa me audio me recording yi bi no mesero se mo de beto mo platform so ebetimi afa so ma President Nanado nensa aka we nyamase ni bi etie Ghana mpanyinfo mesere mo so se mo ne President Nanado be kasa ama me medamase.
Good morning, President Nanado Adankwa Akufo-Addo. I'm paying me bano boko. Midin the ASP retired Franklin Nate. Mesun Ghana ewo police mu 24 plus years. Na mi gratuity me san kano mi dito bond 2 years aka 1 year this year September year 2023 na mi bond no amateur wo adwina wo di ba ye say wakoboka ana wa bugana abofom enti me brama bre sika medi to bond no commercial bank no onfa mame we enye amroba ene be chimeji misika o oman panyi a ya to abama no se onhwe yeso emra wo fru plane £18,000 an hour nkrofo kachreo wante emra wo fa so many ministers se omunu na oni omu betumi aye adwuma nkrofo kachreo wante ene your incompetence inti me bre amabre me disika yedi tua me ka say gratuity me fa hwe me ho so no usi wafa this is 2033 se mi manu na upese omumbeji sikana na minana no mo a minim president woni diemu misrew unuana ni bank edi enim eji loans no mfaso a wanya no misrew manu fa nsa mfaso no ekutu yesika no mesika no mfa mame nanado utrimu yedin papa obi amaye juma Ghana mra kire say 24 years plus no yentua meka as a retired officer no usi wuntua meka menya 60 years here nanado minister mibisa wo have you been a civil servant in Ghana before? Have you worked as a civil servant? Please nanado mimpese mbe kasati o mimpese mbe dumi wusu eni ubusia debi midi yawo esreo tise na Mr. Mattison efri sunyani esreo no Jaimisi mami midin di ASP Franklin Kwesi Nati mi tome bon wo commercial bank. It was Accra North branch. Please, I beg you, in the name of God, don't touch my money. Don't touch my money. Don't touch my money. Anybody who receives this, please send it to as many platforms for Nana Adodanko Akufo-Addo to see, to hear, and to see. Or his cousin Ken Oforiata should hear. Please, 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 Danado, I'm not supposed to beg you. Because when you were begging that you should be tried, I remember traveling from Kumasi to Kofroduya to vote for you 2016, thinking you are bringing something on board. I regretted it. I have regretted all my life. Some friends told me, Anka unya accident okwanchi na uwiya. Well, Nanado, please, whoever received this message, forward it to as many platforms. Let Nanado hear me and ensure I have my money. Thank you.
Right, if you just joined us, it is still Mansa Musa here at NFM Radio. The program is called Fire Will Burn You. It is just metaphoric, you know. I don't like fire burn you. I always say that as for fire, it can be a good servant. Never make fire your boss or fire become your manager. The moment that happens, then of course, it means fire is going to be your enemy. Welcome once again to the program, and that we're talking about the misgovernance. I've told you the story of this, what do we call it? The former South Africa president, P.W. Botha. This man spoke in 1988. I remember I was, a young man in the teens or maybe early 20s, I don't know. And we were up in arms. Mikai Ghana Union of National Union of Ghana Students, NUS. Omunyina seminar chobwe yampene aluta continua adena kwa weaka sasem fu we afa yen blacks Africa. But what did this man say? That today, unfortunately, we blacks have all of us together have proven him right. Or say the black people cannot rule themselves because they don't have the brain and mental capacity to govern a society. Give them guns, they will kill themselves. Give them power, they will steal all the government money. Give them independence and democracy, they will use it to promote tribalism, ethnicity, bigotry, hatred, killings, and wars. P.W. Botha said this he was a South Africa apartheid president 1988. If you consider all the to the course of Ghana say president to me because say Mrs. no agin sem but obi ewuye na fe me be kind story say malaria ho northern region nipa 5 na ewu since January ye kase capacity na PW Botha okay sa capacity no it's not only about the leaders but citizens. Because na ye kan oko France French citizens, they are up in arms. They are against the ruling, the directives, the plans or the programs of their government, and they don't want to sit down. They want to show their teeth. So when they are some of their actions, in fact, police for police for defend you heavily. Some of African countries, as we speak, they are fed up with France. They have had enough. They want to get away from them. Afe mum na yekufuado. Ose adie bi oho ye friend no Paris Club oko join. Na sa Paris Club na ya de papa. Sa a crowd na mo rampage wo Paris street so no. Kobo so mo say, what does the Paris Club do for them or do to them? Ah papa. NTS Ekufuado, Eddie and Tuma, Ecobo Muntumano. And some who and some amembu full in Africa. Let me tell a story about the fact is that Uba a friend is saying Europe, that's like problems. What the for one problem be to say malaria in West Africa. And Kabongo said ministers in Europe, they are traveling from one capital to the other, from one capital to from Bonn to Berlin, from Berlin to London to Dublin to Zurich to Rome. They are solving the problems. And so the African leaders, to quite any entourage, America, any entourage, the American hotel. Now they are feeding or improving the American economy. Capacity now PW Botha kan afi na Matthias here me ya but he proven right. Me sa kamia me penny around the time your bar omo de sabi we are so much no mu nim ne ekoso asam no me nko me fa nche me bo nti me nko na me nko invite Yewura Ajima Denkan Williams o kan sempa na o meboa me Mr. Ajima Denkan Williams, good evening.
Problem is share. Problem is share. And yes, sir, before no, they just want to cause chaos in their country. What happened is in Kroma have also almost planning the VFN no color revolution in Africa. Amafa Nyamisuma a very destructive and a weapon of war against the black friend Christianity. Yeah, the poor give to the rich. The religion is the rich taking from the poor and promising them heaven. and they enjoying heaven. Abra Jesus share I was taking care of the poor. They have a compassion, they have a mercy, they have a love. Now some prophecy now some I twisted Bible no, and I must say I bring what you go man. The tossy bill no, and Kuma by no, what if be a penny young pioneer buy? Now young pioneer no, say you are going to love one another. You are going to love your nation. You are going to build your nation. You are going to make your nation a better place for all. You are going to take very good care of the animals, the bears, the reptiles, and you are going to take very good care of your environment. And no nani ediashe in Korana here by the team. You too, Krumano. The first thing they did is to destroy young pioneer and to destroy everything be I know here, but my more progressive, successful, and encouraging. And omunkunkum kofwa omukuta sa ideology na bebwama ye mahane tumpong. They sponsors people to close down all our factories, close down all our opportunities, destroy all our state farms. They themselves sponsored them to commit crime against our own people. And when we are desperate and everything is destroyed, they blame the black people as the black people are fools. They are the cause of our destruction. And then MPBA person koto down in America. They brainwashing. They brainwashing women. They don't have any confidence in themselves. They don't have any confidence in their country. And they don't have any confidence to do any good thing. In Kuma time, every Ghanaian had confidence in themselves.
Sure.
Omone shishi tamahabo anyabo fu de bishi Ghanaians de shi. Motorway Ghanaians de enoma nyina uhu ewo Ghana shishi airport residential area den shishi Ghana fu de shi. Where did they get the brains to do it? They can do it, but the only thing is and then the government system is not controlled by Ghanaians. It's controlled by the Western world. And then you pay for also idiomachisa among controlling slaves. No one is good motum. If they are focusing on money instead of focusing on the well-being of themselves, focusing on the future of the next generation, focusing on how our children will be within the next 100 years. Almost being seen about London, almost America, which is a foolish vision. So, these are the things that are going to put the chapter of imperialism. The chapter of imperialism says the United Nations will destroy Africans. Yet the organizations via the Western world we usually destroy Africans. A band of Babashi be on Bafis or one may be on Betuno. Normally, I'm puppet leader as issue. Nina or the chapter of imperialism. Yeah, Western world, you know, the old type of the chapter of imperialism, I will YouTube, I will internet, I will buy working kind, no my watching. Indeed, and yet, we have done it before. But just we have people who have been twisted, their minds have been twisted. Yeah, if he are and painful, ya omuni mo left omuni mo right ne chese omu ye noma emboa ye man nkruma ka hye ade ebe ha ye kesi tribalism say ye tribalism ne mfiri ye mu a ni amfa kroye any do any the well-being of one another and train amawa abofunra be hye tribalism ni mu oma ko sha ashantifuo mu no mo omo if every color of bush no more usual ashantifuo na against ya before no more usual against before against ashantifuo one ko sha before no more ko sha no more ko chaos in the midst of chaos there will be no development no more ya kwan wi omusika ko almost just a black race, you know, you're human beings, you have humans. It's almost prima yen gina na soda. And I also see you who answer a bit make us say no. We have to develop ourselves without them. Yen trans, yen being quite a fast a bit me a queen. Then so yes, yes, sir. I don't know my in Brennan. She go deep into things, but and some more kind I plan on my against the black race. He's just saying exactly what kind of chapter of imperialism, some more kind how to make it look like what he's saying. So, Omuja life amayana. Na yene organize bibia, corporation, company, some of the free crew, na yene you see how we stand on our feet. I mean, the mechanic say, Bible say, Yakupon, Obo Yasino. Obo Yashi, physical earth, no be any show. It Obo Yasino de assassin, a shady pansa. One casson control assassin. And as of assassin come more be ye, Jumamano. Or she coco ye, Juma was assassination. Nenuna. Yen e Christo sum na wo Ghana no enim saade no Yankopon si monko ye adwuma e wa asase no ankasa monko ton asase no ana munja asase no wo ma obi ana obi e mefa asase no si go and be fruitful on the land and I yesu instead of going to be fruitful on the land yakotwa so dem ye bompa say ye ma land no e me yi land no this way show bibi was so what develop bibi was so answer na yi by the bompa say yakopon free so no be omedua kube man omedua bobe man omedua fi bia man eno na e higher no wrong gospel or she go and take over our land and be fruitful and multiply and subdue the earth na yesu no e gane fi kroma kotratan ko kroso. Yes, you couldn't cry and perceive a caution. And no more mutim, sir. Ya told me your paddy in our hovel. It's no better than much. Yanko Ponsi, more fruitful, multiply, replenish, and subdue the earth. And all this any pansa. Yet I have prophecy, and some kind swinging passport. Abra, you bet me I son no man after the well-being of each other. I do kind of she love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul, with all thy might, and love your neighbor as yourself. You say one, Kogan and comforted the circle, a crew, a tomb, a being ufakikao, traffic like once I call Crebia, the pension crying for my no of a slew scattered in India. All these people no see we have to house them, take very good care of them, love them and value them, give them the better attention, better help. Your first can learn it back what your kotoka 120,000 pounds not him or your MP. He has no mercy, he has no love, he has no compassion. When some cry love since any background. Nanso eno ene funny say obi a waye yin sa no tie ba sie be ade nyame hwehwe na we have to use love mercy and compassion. Near Fire, you might welcome. I know when I share here. Now, my young church, baby, or you to know, so call you to what I part in my Duncan, so both of my church in me brought with the Yamija.
I know the guy Williams, yet there was a baby. My BSR, a friend saying, age of imperialism, you know, pages neighbor, Opia open, also could be in a kind it will help you. If there was a baby, or sister, who call YouTube, no so, what type of Ajima Duncan Williams are. Then some on the teachings, the preachings, and the wise moral building speeches, and the Gusube you can go there. Yeah, that was a brain, you brain. At the end,
and bye.
Right, so that was Ajima Duncan Williams. That's the senior brother of the pastor or reverend, or what's the name? Yes, Prophet Duncan Williams in Ghana. His senior brother is the one who has just finished his, contribution on air. Right. So now let's come back home to talk about Akufo-Addo has appointed new members of the EC. Given that already there is so much suspicion and mistrust or distrust in government bodies, I mean, in especially Electoral Commission. Electoral Commission, obviously, the humans as they are cannot be neutral, but they should be impartial, you know. They can't be neutral. In fact, I can say the only electoral commissioner who was neutral, I would say, was Aferijan, because he decided not to vote for anybody. So in that sense, he was neutral. But those who are voting, they should at least be impartial. Already there is a whole lot of suspicion about, the activities of the Electoral Commission hierarchy. The opposition, NDC, and some others do not trust their, their way of doing things. So, as a leader, a good leader, if you want to appoint persons to go man, what do we call it, executive positions, or let's say vacancies that has appeared, and that you should send people there. At least Akufo-Addo would have done well just to send people who cannot be identified, at least in public, with any of the senior or big parties, at least in public, because whatever it is, quietly and secretly, people belongs to other parties. But to deliberately choose somebody who is known to be an MPP member, someone who in his previous life was like a communicating officer or communication person for the MPP. If you send them to the Electoral Commission, obviously, yes, you have the power to do it, and you can argue that, but the person can be MPP, but he is still going to be genuine, he's going to be neutral, he's still going to be impartial. It is not that straightforward, Mr. President. Any president with iota of good stuff in the head will know that this will cause some more problems. The suspicion coming from the other side is that these people have been put there in order to do the bidding of Akufo-Addo and his cronies. You see, it is sad and it is dangerous for some of us. So sometimes we try to be circumspective, we try to be measured when we want to use certain words and certain sentences. But if you set out, you set the stage up for people to not to trust the members or the workings of the Electoral Commission right from the onset, it could be that 2024 MPP will win genuinely. But who from the ND side is going to accept when all the people working at the EC are well-known, supposedly, or well-known MPP functionaries? You see, Akufo-Addo on one hand, can be said to be very clever. He wants to be winning, so he wants to do everything to win. But on the other side of the coin, he's not clever, because what he's cooking now, what he is constructing, what he's making, the result is that there's going to be massive disgruntlement, massive dissatisfaction. And this dissatisfaction, which comes about as a result of elections, usually leads to something very unpleasant. So someone would do well to advise our president, enough of this shenanigans, enough. I'm saying that those personnel, those people who have been appointed now to work at the EC, they may be good people in their own, they may be very, very articulate, they may be good in their own stead or in their own capacity. But, we don't live we don't run a country in a vacuum. And you don't expect everyone to say that, oh, even though this one is NDC or this one is NPP, we don't care. No. What is the reason behind Akufo-Addo now appointing members of his political party to go run the show at EC? What is his reason behind this? Is it just coincidence? Is it that he thinks, the people have assured him that they're going to be impartial? That's why he's doing it. No, he's not that stupid. He's not that foolish. He wants to win at all costs. That's why yesterday I said something, I wrote something that in the end, we may have to go through that final showdown. That horrible, horrible episode of, one man against the other, because they do not, like the politics of the other one. Akufo-Addo, some people who actually dealt with him, some people who knew him closely, previously told Ghanaians that this guy, when he becomes president, woe betide you Ghanaians. You have cooked problems, troubles. And Ghanaians didn't listen. We didn't bother. Ghanaians bought into the massive propaganda, the massive lies, and cooked and brought in Akufo-Addo. Today, he's, packing the judiciary with all manner of people who will support his cause against the rest or everybody. He's packing the EC. He has packed the military with some, shady characters to fight on his behalf. If this had happened 50 years ago, 70 years ago, you see civil war, everything. Akufo-Addo, unfortunately, 2023 is the type of Savimbi and, Angola civil war and Congo civil war and those kind. He's that mold. He's that kind. He's forcing his way through, and whoever don't like it, that means there should be a fight. There are so many people in Ghana. Some may be sympathetic to the NDC, others to the MPP. But when you brazenly put an MPP person in charge of elections, goodness me, exactly what you want is what you're going to get. Let me quickly go onto the telephone and speak to a gentleman or a gentlewoman who has just called me. Hello.
Yeah, hello, Mansa Musa.
Yes.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening. Is that Joe, yeah?
Yes, please, yeah. Yeah, Majidi there, Bibia Boko.
Moyenden.
Yeah, the Nyamiasi, Michia, wo Ashofuna, wo Chiefuna, wo producers Nadina. Mansa, I have been.
Now, say these days I'm learning a lot too because man, me produce me hunty. I have to do it.
Oh.
I didn't like it from the beginning, but now I'm getting used to it, so no problem. So I will take all the greetings.
Yeah, into Michia Wangasana Michia, the other part of you know the production work.
All right. We got it.
Yeah.
We got it.
And I think I have become obsessed with the discussion you are having now. Especially with the EC now. And Mansa Musa, I have said, look, we will spend 100 years discussing Akufo-Addo and nothing is going to happen. And like you rightly said, we were advised the kind of burden we bring upon ourselves if we make Akufo-Addo the next president. And it looks to me that he came to fulfill just that advice. And so for me, I do not have problem with Akufo-Addo because he doesn't respect us for one. He doesn't give a hoot about anything, and so for me, I don't regard him. But the point is the weak opposition we've had. Look, this appointment now are balanced. This is the time the NDC needs to set up. Let us not forget, Mansa Musa, last time I told you about the MPP issuing a letter congratulating the newly elected, whether legitimate or illegitimate president of Nigeria. And they emphasize they need to go the Tinubu way, Tinubu or whatever way. And what is the Tinubu way? We saw that even he did not even win the election, but he's been crowned as the president-elect. Now, if you go to the Nigeria Tinubu issue, I would say they even came to learn that thing from us because we saw the machinations of Mansa in the 2020 before Tinubu's issue came. But Mansa Musa, let us even ignore that concept. Let us look at this appointment. Look, the NDC needs to first and foremost seek alliance with well-meaning other political parties like the CPP and other parties that are meaningful, that bring on board proper discourse of our national development and our national forward march. And you know that this appointment was done in conjunction with the national whatever, National Advisory Council or whatever, the people who advise the president, national whatever. I've forgotten the name. Council of State, good. It was done with the Council of State. The NDC needs to form alliance with meaningful political parties and seek audience with the National Council of State and show videos of this man being a puppet and being a card-bearing member of the MPP and look, incite the country or pitch the country against the Council of State because it is the advice upon which the president listened to appoint this person. It is the advice of the Council of State and our president appointed this person. And so we need to, we are not, Akufo-Addo, he won't listen. But if we pitch the people, if we inflame passion of the people against the Council of State, something can be done. Because Akufo-Addo has robbed our mouth and he knows there is no teeth to bite. We can't do nothing. And that is why 78 years, he thinks even 16-year-olds are not strong enough to match him. And that is why he's doing what he's doing. Because there has not been any kind of... I think we need to pitch the people against the Council of State and tell them that in 2024, if Ghana gets into flames, it is upon their head. If that is the kind of advice that people like this are going to be endorsed by the Council of State, then that is it. So I think there has to be a radical approach to some of these things. Because, look, Mansa Musa, you see, in the framing of Baku Boaboa, not the 90 days, Bovaso.
Yes.
These people have gone on to indicate they will break the 8. And that is why I have a problem with the NDC most often. When they are always talking about, oh, the media is not talking about it, the chiefs are not talking about it, Christian Council is quiet, Muslim Council is quiet. married counsel is quiet, private counsel is quiet, single counsel is quiet, divorce. It doesn't work like that. You don't have anybody supporting you in the first place. You don't have anybody supporting you. It is up to you to gather out, and even if before you can even make all these people have sympathy with you, you need to put in an argument. Now, what is the argument? The argument is only sitting on Twitter or sitting on a sharing on platforms that this man used to be a former MPP, whatever. Is that the way we want to court sympathy? Then there has to be a radical approach. It doesn't have to be business as usual. It doesn't have to be. And now even this has given us a more indicative argument to say Mansa is an MPP card-bearing member. Because I think the appointment, she was there. When they were being outdoors, she was there. She was there. And they've all accepted it. It tells you. Because, and that is what I'm saying. Say, when people wake up and say we need a stronger institution, we don't need we need stronger people. With Mansa Musa. Yeah, we need people with integrity. We need electoral commissioner with integrity. When confronted with such an issue, you say, Mr. President, I cannot work with such a person. This person is a card-bearing member of your political party. I cannot work with. But here we are. Yadinatum, he's going to work. And I listen to some argument, and genuinely, probably, just as we are all worried and all that, probably he is going to come and work perfectly. Yes. But the point is, as human beings, anything can happen during the course of our work. He might make a mistake, which probably might be a very genuine mistake he had committed. But because of his affiliation, because of our knowledge of where he is coming from, that can turn the country upside down. And so, for me, I feel the NDC needs to up its game. Because when you are going into a ring like Azuma Nelson went into a ring and he knew that he was going to face the boxer, his opponent, he was going to face referees, he was going to face a crowd all against him, the next time he upped his game. That is how you go about it. But it's not always as Yen Hoboko thinking, say, Christian Council will come and talk for us. Thinking, say, national whatever will come and talk for. It doesn't work like that. The NDC needs to be a bit serious. It needs to be serious. It needs to be serious. By now, I have said, for me, probably the NDC, maybe they feel, probably maybe the opposition is better for them. Because they are going to be timid like this and they will have to stay in opposition for a long time. Because even the timer, Soldier when the president came there to parliament, he didn't talk about it. The best way for the NDC to have done to show solidarity to the people of Ashaman who vote massively for NDC was to walk out of that parliament and do not listen to that nonsense the president came to spew there. But as usual, they sat down there, listened to the nonsense, and that's it. And the people who queued to vote for NDC, who were killed in whatever south or whatever south, have died a useless death. Because at the end of the day, nobody sympathizes with them. We need to show courage. Mansa Musa, look, you remember Ghana will not die a case when Atamas went to parliament and Akufo-Addo had made that all die be die statement. Go into your archives. When Atamas went to parliament to go and make that pronouncement of Ghana will not die, a call that was calling for Ghanaians to stand firm, and for that matter, God was with her, and that nothing was going to happen. A call that was a clarion call, a call that was kind of emancipatory, a caller. Ghana for come together as a united front, and that it's not about someone's political ambition. And Ghana has to be in flames. Yet, go and see the response of the minority in parliament at that time. Go into your archives and watch it. Go into your archives and go and watch it. Even to the extent that when Atamas was leaving parliament, Osei Mensa refused to shake his hand. He refused to accompany President Mills outside Go and check. It was Mahama. Every day, yes, sorry, I can't say Mahama, if it was Mahama who Yakokun Kofu Ashanti region in the Mahama Parliament, he will not even step in Parliament. He will not even step in Parliament. Mansa Musa, you cannot debate me about this. Nobody can debate me about this. If NDC time under Mahama, military has been sanctioned to go to Kumasi to go and beat people in Aswansi or whatever, Siami. Do you think Mahama could go to Parliament to deliver State of the Nation address? What kind of people are we? We talk 136, 136, 160, 1 whatever. We can't do anything. We can't do anything with our numbers. Nothing is going on. What is it? We need to show our kids. Akufo-Addo cannot visit the military on all Ghanaians. Akufo-Addo cannot visit the military on all of us. And look, when the people stand up against an oppressor, Mansa Musa, you can gather all the world army. They cannot fight the anger of the people. So why are we sitting down there and being oppressed like this? As if there is no gun. Akufo-Addo does whatever he wants. Akufo-Addo can bring in his girlfriend now today, make her the electoral commissioner. Nothing will happen. No FOCO will happen in Ghana. FOCO. What kind of opposition is this? We need to be anti.
Okay.
We need to be anti. Recently, Okujato was fighting this man, Reverend Kusi plus Dujensi or whatever. And this guy had the audacity to see Okujato. Now, nobody in the NDC had the audacity to also counter you, the Reverend Kusi, for the possession of 2 ID cards, 2 names, 2 mothers, 2 fathers, 2 brothers, 2 sisters. Nobody could counter you him. Recently, I was very angry. This guy, this Okateche who had an issue with Kevin Taylor or whatever when Kevin Taylor has been. And this guy categorically, on state TV, said NDC is financing Kevin Taylor, and for that matter, NDC crowd to car, I'm my papa. And see, Emma, NDC Jack Kevin Taylor to come and insult Otumfuo and Ashanti. NDC is sitting down there, nobody has issued a communique to debunk that issue and even sue the guy to bring evidence or face the court. And you want to win political power. These are the people who said Mahama had bought houses in Dubai and all that, hotels in Dubai. And they have started again. And yet, they know, say, a senior NDC, they can spew all sort of nonsense. And they can go free. We don't do politics like this. Yes, Mahama might be a gentleman. He might be clean. We don't want him to engage in that. But there has to be a dirty man behind the scene. There has to be dirty people behind the scene. If we're all going to be clean, Masa, we cannot play in the Netekoko. We cannot play on the Netekoko pitch. You need to play at the Netekoko pitch before you go to Wembley. It's becoming too much. Some of us who believe in the NDC and who think our only hope rests with the NDC coming back to power. We are getting disappointed, we are getting frustrated, and it seems like we are all losing hope. Because if I sit down there in Ghana and I feel that the NDC is not up to its game, in the election I will not even go and bother to vote. Because after, even if I vote and they rig them, they can't do anything. So what's the point? And these are the conversation. These are the message we are conveying to people, especially floating voters. We need to be seen. Are you telling me that a party that was born out of military, today all of a sudden we don't have men who can stand up? All of a sudden we don't have any men who can stand up to this nonsense? Mansa Musa, I rest my case. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you too. Thank you. Good call. Right. I'm going to end this one with something. Australia to be someplace. It's a horror as a woman finds deadly 6-foot snake in her bed. And the woman apparently is never sleeping again. Oh, Jesus Christ. Is a woman in Queensland, Australia, received nasty shock when she went to change her sheets on Monday afternoon and found a 6-foot snake in her bed. Hey. It was not her ex, but a deadly eastern brown snake that had slithered into her bedroom to snooze on her sheets. She said that she didn't really want it there and shut up the room, put a towel underneath the door, and rang me. Snake catcher Zachary Richards from Zachary Snakes and Reptile Relocation told Newsweek. Zachary, would you mind the I say, eastern brown snakes are responsible for more snake bites fatalities than any other species in Australia, according to the University of Melbourne's Australian Venom Research Unit. They have the world's second most toxic venom. It contains a neurotoxin that shuts down the victim's heart and diaphragm and lungs, causing them to suffocate. Eastern brown snakes are found throughout eastern and southern Australia, hence their name. Their natural habitat also overlaps with some of the most populated areas in the country, so it is not uncommon to find them in people's homes. Huh? You are going to remove your bed sheet to go either wash or something, then a deadly long snake is lying in your bed. And usually, women finding snake in their bed means maybe your boyfriend. But this time, it was the proper snake. Oh, Jesus. Australia, according to stories, is one of the most dangerous places on earth. Before they go out, and come with the ninja abosom. Anyway, this story, let's leave it. Wow. And if you see the picture, I think if you Google Newsweek, it should be on Newsweek bulletin. If you see the picture, the woman's bed sheet, nice white big bed, and the brown snake, massive, lying on the bed sleeping. Now, how do you stay in such a place? Because that means now you have to seal everything, seal off everything completely. And how can you get air into the room? Australia. Oh, Jesus Christ. Anyway, Mansa Musa, it's been a marvelous evening. We're talking about how Akufo-Addo is filling the EC with Akufo-Addo supporters, or MPP, what do you call it, personnel, thereby creating the suspicion of, a vote rigging, what do you call it, how do I say it? It is an initial plan for vote rigging, so to speak. Then we've spoken about the fact that governance has become so cheap and we are not governing properly. Because, like I say, in Europe and the Americas and all the places that they have developed, it is the society, it's the people who always put politicians under pressure. I've always said, said right previously in my show that those people protesting and, fighting, running amok on French capital, on the streets of Paris and the rest, it's not that all of them hate Macron or they didn't vote Macron. Most of them, the people fighting for pension and the rest, most of them voted for Macron. But now, seeing that Macron is doing something wrong, most of them have come out to show their anger. This cannot be said of Ghanaians at all. I'm telling you that any civilized place that over, almost 200 people, say 187 people, were rounded up, brought to the public square, and were beaten mercilessly. Most of them, or all of them, for no charge, for nothing wrong that they've done. Apparently, all these people quietly have been released. And we've heard that one of them have already died from the wounds or from the beatings, apparently. That incident, you will see the emotion of the crowd, the demonstration from even people old and young, if it was a proper country. But then our leaders have seen that whatever they do, we sit down quietly. Fools. Abrofo citizens, they don't sit quietly and allow their politicians to just do whatever they want. Your own health minister and the president has come to lie that no one had died. But I read this story here on Ghana Web. The director for the health ministry in the northern region, he said the government, he said there has been, the outbreak of measles followed a shortage of measles and polio vaccines in the region since last year. The Tamale metropolis has been the worst affected, with reports suggesting that at least 5 have died since the outbreak in January. So with this report, where is the president and the health minister getting their report from to tell Ghanaians that no one has died? This alone can bring the people onto the street if it is a proper country. But the people themselves don't have the capacity to understand that politicians are there or they are here to serve them. Our people think politicians are here to be served. Because you're someone dorsal. Ignorance not dorsal. I'm going to end my show tonight. Hopefully tomorrow will continue. Hopefully Friday will continue. On Saturday, I think we are going to feature the Esiedun Ketia's, what do we call it? True Sona message. I think we are going to do that on the coming Saturday. So stay blessed, stay safe. Don't do anything silly. Don't do anything that will harm your personal, proper integrity, your physical and your friend is saying your health, well-being, and the rest. You got to do everything in moderation. I love you, and I know the response, as usual, as always, is mutual. So stay well and be good. Have a good night. Cheers and bye.
Oh Make sure I'm a sewa.